Do you really honestly think that there was a time when these people had the power and the control over humanity, and then one day they woke up to say, we're going to give all this up. From now on, you people have the power. From now on, you Congo, you have your own power. You're independent. Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, you're independent. Power is power. And once somebody has tested power, they don't want to let it go. Do you think Biden is at a stage where he gives a shit about the American vote? He's not showing any fear for
any
votes.
remorse.
And banned TikTok also. 170 million users. Yeah, we're going to ban this thing. I've signed it. You're on the African soul. You are on the African soul. You are African, and embrace it and be lucky and be grateful. Be grateful. I think a lot of the people that lived in those days where slavery was a way of life, were perhaps just destined to live in those times.
Yeah.
I think that majority of the people that now live in this generation wouldn't take the crap.
Yeah.
You know, before a coup is formed, just like we've seen so many different coups in Africa,
Yeah.
it's a group of soldiers or individuals, usually it's from the army, group of soldiers, they get together and they say to themselves, okay, these particular Mohamed Bazoum, here, for example, in Niger, Mohamed Bazoum is doing a shit job as the president of this country. He's out here doing things for the benefit of France, for the benefit of Macron. He's out here just making sure that he enriches himself. So we're going to form a group of us ourselves, we the trustworthy people within, or generals or soldiers within the army of that particular country, in this case Niger. We're going to overtake the government and we're going to create a coup d'etat.
Yeah.
So just like these M23 at the time in 2012 said to themselves, we don't like the way that this governing is happening. And so therefore we're going to create our own thing. But anyway, it says here, the M23 rebel group was formed in April 2012 by former soldiers of the Congolese army who had defected. They were mainly from the Tutsi ethnic group and were dissatisfied with the RDC government's treatment of their community. And then background, the roots of the M23 can be traced back to previous conflicts in the DRC, particularly Second Congo War from 1998 to 2003. After the war, many Tutsi soldiers integrated into the Congolese army, but tensions remained due to perceived discrimination and marginalization. So it's a group of people who apparently they are also from the army. So the Congolese themselves.
Essentially they are Congolese.
Or at least that's how it was formed.
Yeah, but
Right?
I would think that there are still some Congolese members of that M23, but now their agenda is just so
Now, it's not just them.
yes.
There are neighboring countries that are taking advantage of the fact that M23 exists, like Rwanda, like
Yes.
Paul Kagame. So them themselves, now they see a benefit in this. They say, okay, M23, you hate the way that your government works. You hate the way that your government governs. We're going to come in there. We're going to give you all the resources. And guess what? We got some really great contacts in this world. And if you work with us, we will do our best to make sure that you perhaps get in power, to make sure that you perhaps get what you want, whatever your objectives are. But it needs to be a win-win situation here.
Yeah.
Because nothing is free in this world. Paul Kagame, or Rwanda specifically in this case, not so much Uganda or Burundi, especially that Rwanda is out here then saying to itself, we gotta benefit from this thing. We gotta do our best to support you, M23. We will always be in the background. If we get questioned left, right, and center, we'll speak politically. We'll speak however we speak to defend ourselves. But here's the money. So that's the complex story now with M23.
But it's just crazy the way this M23. I mean, the objective in the beginning was because they don't like the past administration of DRC. But I'm sure that things have changed. I mean, Tshisekedi came in there when Am I pronouncing it right?
Say it. What did you say?
Felix Tshisekedi?
Not Tshisekedi.
What is it?
Tshisekedi.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Tshisekedi. No, you're still saying it right. It's the accent, you understand. Tshisekedi. Felix Tshisekedi.
Yes, I'm sure he's done something right in the past. I mean, this is his second term, right?
Felix Tshisekedi's hands are tied only in a sense where that this particular conflict is extremely complex. There's so many proxies out here. There's so many hidden powers. Foreign powers like Apple, Tesla, Big Tech, Rwanda in the mix, all sponsoring this war for their own benefits to keep stealing all those natural resources. What Felix Tshisekedi needs to do, despite the fact that he comes out here and he speaks in terms that we agree.
Yeah.
He comes out here and he doesn't lie. He says, Paul Kagame is a thief. They've been stealing our resources, coltan, left, right, and center, to the point where even Paul Kagame has the audacity to come out here and claim and say that, for example, the coltan that they supposedly mine is of a higher grade than the one of the DRC Congo. We all know that this is false. This is not true. This is a lie. They steal our natural resources and they smuggle them out of Congo and into Rwanda, where they illegally stamp them and stamp a stamp of approval on these minerals. And then these minerals are then exported to these big companies out there in the world, like Apple.
Yes.
You understand?
And they will
he
just take
speaks the
it.
Truth.
Yeah.
He speaks the truth that way, but he still doesn't take necessary action.
Yeah, I can see how that can be, yes. That he's not taking the action, but also, I think also he was re-elected last year. So I think it's also his hands were tied because of elections and maybe, I don't know.
Look, before this Tshisekedi comes in power, he knows that the biggest problem or the biggest issue is that East Congo. So even in his first term where he was re-elected, like you say, and he's been there already for 5 years. There's absolutely no way that could have been a second priority to him. Any Congolese president who gets in power from now on, their number one mission should be to end that conflict in East Democratic Republic of Congo. Because that conflict has been there since 1996, perhaps maybe even prior to that. That is the biggest thing that is happening in Congo. Before you can even, most issues can be fixed simultaneously, but before you can even start talking about any other issue, you have to talk about a genocide that's currently happening there. It takes preference, it jumps to the top of your priority list as a president.
Yes.
So even in his first term,
you're right.
The genocide that's happening in East Congo should have been Felix Tshisekedi's number one priority.
But I think he's really starting to take it seriously now, because he was also threatening legal action against these Apple and Tesla, but also the U.S. courts have already decided that no, the coltan was not mined illegally, or what do they call it? Blood minerals.
It's blood minerals because
blood
it's
minerals,
stolen.
Yeah.
Rwanda is sponsoring M23. They are out here funding M23 and they are facilitating the smuggling of our natural resources into Rwanda, where these minerals then get stamped, some illegal way of stamping it, and then yes, in the eyes of the law, international law or whatever trade, it then goes to America or to Apple or to the West or any other multi-tech company out there. But at the end of the day, it's blood money, it's blood mineral, it's blood, because it's what needs to happen is all these huge companies, all these big tech companies like Apple, Tesla, and all these people that all need this coltan for their lithium-ion batteries. They need to decisively sit down with the DRC Congo authorities, work out some sort of a trade deal between the two, so that they can then Congo can rightfully sell its own minerals, not allow to sponsor this militant group. M23 is not a recognized authority in the DRC Congo. So allowing them to continue to persist, continue to do this war over there in East Democratic Republic of Congo. And you, even Apple or this big company, if you steal these things or if you buy them from a thief, you are complicit.
Yes.
You are perpetuating the whole issue.
Yes.
You are encouraging it. You are facilitating. You are not part of the remedy. And you don't deserve to sit there and try to be a part of the solution makers, because you are the cause itself. You are the issue. You are the problem.
And as you say that DRC and those big tech companies, they should sit together. But now when they do sit together, this DRC government, they should at least put into that deal of how to create a safe working environment, a safe mining environment, like build something, a mine, where this coltan or cobalt is coming out of. And so those...
How can they do that when there's war in those particular regions? Most of the areas where this land is full of these resources is where this genocide is happening. These are a lot of the... Where... You see that coltan? You see the reason why we say 8 million people are displaced? Because these people are displaced for a reason. They are displaced because where they used to live is where the discovery happened. Where they used to live is where all these mines are, is where all this fortune is where all this coltan is.
I get that.
So that's the war zone.
Yeah,
that's
but
the war zone.
That's what I'm saying. It's, you know, they should actually think of all of this before they try to sit down. And like you say, these people were displaced.
But before they can even get to sit down and say, we're going to create proper mines here and there, you have to deal with the threat first. First is the threat. First is the empty. You see, think about it this way. Right here is where the coltan is, and right here is where they say, hey, you 8 million fools, you 8 million people, you 8 million Congolese, move right now, start running away, because otherwise we'll go crazy on you. So they come there and they start killing civilians left, right, and center, and then these people have no reason but to flee. So the perimeter is then made.
Yeah,
so
but then there should be some housing.
There should be what?
They should build some housing.
Who?
For these displaced, the government.
We're not talking about that first. We're talking about the war. We're talking about the war. You say they should create mines, and allow for proper mining to be done. We're not talking about housing. Where must they build housing? So they must just accept that these people moved us from our own villages. These people also want to go back to where they belong, to their own homes. Think about it this way. In Belleville, or in Taga Valley, or wherever you come from in Cape Town, there, some people come in there and forcefully move you from what's rightfully yours, your land. They move you away from here, and you find yourself in Eastern Cape. So you're gonna accept the defeat and want to stay in Eastern Cape, or you're gonna forever wanna go back to where you belong, to your land. That's what you're gonna want. Even a lot of those people in those particular lands, they had their rightful land. They had pieces of paper, like the chiefs in towns, like the locals, all of those people. They had, just like if you were to go to any other African country, for example, Sierra Leone, where I've been, when we go to the mines in Sierra Leone, we go uptown, we go all the way to Kenema district, we go all the way to Kono or whatever. You don't just get there and it's just a mine over there and it's just the land over here, start drilling or whatever. You get there, there's structures too. There's an old man, there's the chief. You have to go and see the chief. The chief has paperwork too. Regardless of his situation, regardless of how poor the surroundings look like, besides the fact that, yes, a bag of rice means a lot to him. He's the person in charge, and you have to respect him. So when you think about this North Kivu or South Kivu, you must think about these people, these different structures that existed there. And now you got M23 who's coming in there and it's just disrupting everything, killing these people, committing a genocide. A war zone, completely a war zone. So they're out there disrupting that particular structure that works. Because even these particular Chinese company or foreign companies that end up buying mines, when they come there, they have to take care of the locals. But now M23 is out here disrupting that whole mission. And you have some of these foreign companies where these mines are sold to, somehow I'm sure they sort of like try to take care of the locals here and there. But all of that way of being, all of that tradition when it comes to mining. Because a lot of mining happens in Africa.
Yes, of course.
There are some places in this world where people mine this, that, these minerals, whatever. But in Africa, the way it works, regardless of which mineral, not just coltan, gold, diamond, any types of these mining, you take care of the locals. In this case, the locals are displaced. The chiefs, the generals, the elderly people in the locals communities
Yes.
around these mines. They are displaced, and so their families and kids and wives and women all move. Now we're talking about 8 million people displaced. 7 point something or 7.2 or 7.3. We're gonna round it off.
Round
to
it
8.
up.
8 something like that. Millions of people displaced. So we're talking about a lot of people, a lot of land. Talking about North Kivu, talking about South Kivu. That's where a lot of this mineral, this cobalt, coltan is. You understand? So
Yeah, I get it.
before you can even start talking about housing for these locals, wherever they move to at these displacement camps, you have to rectify the issue. You have to deal with the threat. Because, but then doing is you are accepting the defeat, you are accepting the cause, you are saying to yourself that M23 or M24, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 can come in here in Congo, displace people, and what you have to do, your responsibility as a government is to create housing for other people.
Okay, no.
You
no,
cannot. You have to deal with the threat.
Yeah.
You have to deal with Paul Kagame.
Yes.
As the president of the DRC Congo, Felix Tshisekedi, enough talking. You can't be sitting out here conducting interviews with different journalists, France 24 or whatever, BBC, whoever comes there, Al Jazeera, anybody.
Yeah.
It's time for action. Time for talking when it comes to M23 has long come and gone. It's time for action. But now, time for action. The DRC army, they are
need
poor.
help.
They need so much help.
Yes.
They are unmotivated. They need payment. They need money.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
can't fight for free.
This is where the other African countries need to help DRC Congo. Because in the end, DRC it's the richest country in the world.
Yeah, we are $24 trillion rich in terms of natural resources. Yes, when you want to talk about African unity, that's also another ball game. Now, we admire the fact that South Africa, what's the other one?
Malawi and Tanzania.
Countries like that feel the need. What's that A something you were saying? A something. It's the Southern something. ASC.
Southern African Development Community.
Like ACD. Yeah, something like that.
SADC. Yes.
So they what? They are in charge of what? What they do?
They
are some sort of a coalition.
Yes.
That can come out here and say, okay, let's try to contribute to a broader picture to bring about a positive solution in the current mess that's happening in East Congo.
Yes,
right?
yes,
They are an association like that, or a group like that, an entity like that.
Yes.
The African Union is that one. They don't even say much.
I think Tshisekedi is also trying to rely on the African Union, but the only thing the African Union can do is just
the only thing that the African that's not the only thing that the African Union can do. The African Union can do a lot, but the African Union is choosing not to do anything because the African Union does not have its own backbone. The African Union is a puppet of an institution because it's supported and funded by the EU, by the European Union.
Yes.
60 to 75% of the funding of what constitutes the African Union, where they get their money from, comes from the EU. So they are powerless because at the end of the day, it's about money. The European Union will say, we give you the money to do bam, 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 bam. You're not out here with our funding, with that money that we send you and choose what to do. France, Europe, most of these people, they need all these minerals out there, so they call it shots. They choose where to allocate that money.
Yeah.
The African Union, if the African Union could have done something, that war has been going on since 1996.
Jeez.
For almost 3 decades now, the East Democratic Republic of Congo has been experiencing this conflict.
Yes.
Waiting for the African Union is long gone. What the president of the Democratic Republic of Congo, in this particular case, Felix Tshisekedi, should do is take action. How are you going to take action if you have a depleted, forgotten, useless army? They probably don't even have any equipment. You understand? He keeps standing on different podiums and threatening to go to war with Paul Kagame and Rwanda, who's backed up by the West.
Yes.
Who's backed up by Apple, who's backed up by Tesla, by all these multi-corporation tech companies out there. It's big. It's complex. That M23 has the guts to be out here terrorizing the DRC the way that it is because it has the backing of certain powerful nations.
Yes.
This is the truth. Even Felix Tshisekedi says it. He's real about it.
Yeah.
So what really needs to be done is the DRC. Now we like we were saying, we like the interest that certain African countries are showing to this particular conflict and trying to look for a way, a remedy, a solution.
Yeah.
Like South Africa.
Yes.
Who has sent their troops, right? Like you mentioned last time.
Yes.
And some of their troops.
Some of their troops, they passed away and they were injured.
Yeah. There's casualties there.
Yeah, definitely.
So a lot of these African countries have a lot to think about before they just send their troops. But that's the nature. That's the world that they live in. You understand? You cannot expect a normal civilian to feel sorry for you as a soldier or a personnel of a particular army when there's certain casualty. Yes, we mourn. We say, "Woo, may their soul rest in peace." We fold the flag and pa.
Yeah.
But that's the life they've chosen.
Yes, yes.
But most of these African countries need to be prepared to stand together and say to themselves, but now this depends on the relationships that
they have with the other countries.
That Felix Tshisekedi has to create or form with
that
the
is
other
very
countries.
true. That is very true.
If he's out here only wanting to travel overseas, to go to Europe or go to Russia or go to France, at the end of the day, France is not your neighbor. Understand? You need to go to countries. Who's the mediator? Angola. Angola has been chosen as the mediator between the DRC and Rwanda.
And Rwanda, yes.
And Rwanda, because they're now trying to organize a sit down with Paul Kagame. Felix Tshisekedi comes out here and says, I will not sit down with a thief. There's tensions there, huh? So, Felix Tshisekedi needs to form relationships with other African countries that are willing to listen. Serious African countries.
Yes.
But most of these African countries are all corrupt. It's all about money. We know that it's about money. What's in it for us? Understand? That's the dilemma that Felix Tshisekedi is facing. He can come out here and speak the truth. He's honest now in his interviews, like the interview we were watching yesterday.
Yeah. It seemed sincere and heartfelt, like he understands the devastation that is happening, the genocide that is happening, but I think his ego is also stopping it from actually working things out with
his ego. What ego?
I don't know.
Working things out with
who?
Because
why wouldn't he sit down with Kagame?
A thief. With a thief.
Yes, but how else is
that? In no way. You don't sit down with a thief.
But
when
how
somebody
else?
comes into your house and they steal some of your furniture, they eat your food, you gonna sit down with them and try to negotiate a solution? No.
I would try and sit down and say hey man, what's up?
Down. You have to have pride. He has to have that ego. He's a president. He represents a big country. And this guy is a thief. Besides the fact that the international community is doing fuck all about it. We need to say that way. They're doing nothing about it. The UN is doing absolutely nothing about it. In fact, these higher powers are out here supporting that militant group.
Yeah.
The structure or the formalities of allowing another country to act as a mediator, we should at least pursue that. That is a reasonable way of sitting down. Okay, I'll come, but let there be a mediator. Angola, you're the mediator. We will send our representatives. Speak, what is it? What can we do in order to initiate a ceasefire, a pause, while we try to find a better solution? You can do that. Just the same thing that's happening with Palestine and Israel. Gaza and Israel. Qatar and
Egypt.
And Egypt are the mediators. So you have to do that. Because Hamas have their pride. Israel also have their pride.
Yes.
Those ones say, you guys are occupied, this is our land, da, 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 da. But to allow either one of them, especially the one who believes that I'm right.
Yeah.
Like in this case, Palestine.
Yes.
Would say, what? This is my land. You're an occupier. 1948, what? We've been here before. You're an occupier. You keep eating our territory. You keep coming in and in and in.
Telling us to go.
You let our people live in oppression and all this thing. And why must I sit down with you? So let Egypt and
Qatar
act as a mediator. So it's the same thing. They let Angola act as a mediator. But his pride, he's supposed to have the pride. No, because they're stealing from him.
I get that, but it's also been like how many years now, man?
So what? There's no time frame by which a thief now has the right to call upon a meeting, to sit down, to be respected, to be acknowledged.
Kagame is not calling upon a meeting.
You said that Felix Tshisekedi, his ego is in the way because why won't he just sit down with these people?
Yeah, just sit down with Angola in presence.
Look, Felix Tshisekedi, in my opinion, needs action. He needs to take action against these M23. They need to retaliate against this illegal bombing that happened on displacement camps, on civilians. You don't throw bombs on civilians and then everybody just forgets about it and they say, oh, shame, and we sing kumbayas and move on. Hell no. He needs to retaliate decisively. As a leader would, as any other leader out here is busy retaliating.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Otherwise, you let it be known to these freaking people, in this case M23, that it's okay for them to drop bombs on babies, come in there and grape our women left, right, and center, do what they want, steal our natural resources, sell them to Apple and Tesla and these giants of the world, and it's okay, zero retaliation. He first needs to retaliate. He needs to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
Even us, the Congolese people ourselves, we need to start seeing some backbone in Felix Tshisekedi. We need to say to ourselves, okay, we have a leader. Because he took action here.
Yeah.
Leaders take action. You don't sit here and just talk. The reason why people fear Russia the way people fear Russia is because Russia takes action.
Definite action.
He's a man of action. He's not out here just talking. He'll still talk, but he's willing to negotiate and all this type of stuff. But he's a man of action. The reason why King Jong-un is feared like that is because he's a man of action.
Yes.
And you can see it, you can read them, you can hear it on them. He's out there testing ballistic missiles and all this kind of thing so that he can be given the opportunity, the respect, the recognition to sit at the table.
Yeah.
Felix Tshisekedi, for his first term, all he did was talk.
Yeah.
Now you're serving your second term, you're still talking. We need action against M23.
Yes.
We need action against Paul Kagame. Enough talking. People are dying. You talking.
Yeah, that's true. And if this DRC Congo, DRC military, they are
the army.
Yeah, the army. If they are so weak and deflated, shouldn't he be requesting help from other countries?
Shouldn't he be requesting help from other countries?
I mean, like sending his troops for training, something like that to strengthen them.
Nothing is free in this world.
I get that, but the talks should happen.
The relations. Some partnerships, some collaborations.
Yes.
Some diplomatic relations. You scratch my back, I scratch your back.
Yes.
I need help with my army because M23 is out here dropping bombs on babies. Please, can you send some artillery? We need some.
Yes.
Colonizer, please. Russia, please. What do you think? Can we propose? Russia says, oh, what are you rich about? You have certain minerals over there that are of interest to us. Yes, those are international relations. We encourage those.
Yes.
And I'm sure that he's doing it. But the fact that M23 is out here being sponsored and supported by bigger powers makes everything a little bit complicated because when Felix Tshisekedi, for example, seek help from elsewhere, when you are now in a partnership with, for example, let's say Russia or France or whoever it is that you're partnering up with, you must know now proxies are getting involved.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, M23 is supported by the West. Felix Tshisekedi, you are now partnering up with Russia. The West comes with NATO. Russia comes with BRICS.
Ooh.
So what are we provoking over here? We need to think about the complexity of everything that happens. It's not as easy as just let me go over there, borrow some, and come over here. People are allies of this one, allies of that one, and allies of this one. That's why most of the time, all you get to hear is people, especially Congolese activists out here.
Yeah.
You get to hear them just condemn the West.
Yes.
Because what is the biggest mineral in the DRC Congo? Cobalt, coltan, these things that we use in our cell phones, lithium-ion battery, electric cars. So who are you talking about? You're talking about Elon Musk. You're talking about Tim Cook. You're talking about these people that sponsor perhaps different types of campaigns out there. These are the biggest lobbyists. And when you want to challenge M23, for example, who's smuggling all this mineral out of the DRC Congo. You're challenging Apple.
Yes.
They know. They will always sit in the background. They'll never admit it. They'll say, we bought it from a legitimate source. Can't you see this stamp of approval? Right? But the underground world is the fact that people are getting into the DRC Congo and smuggling all of these minerals out on motorbikes and thought of tunnels. They smuggle it out of Congo and into Rwanda. And in Rwanda, they then sell it to these people.
Yes.
So these people stand on UN stages and say, but it's legal. It's got a stamp of approval on it. You understand?
Yeah.
That's the game that's happening here.
Yes, that game is difficult. It's complex.
And Rwanda, Paul Kagame have the, let me say it properly, Rwanda and Paul Kagame have the audacity to then come out and say, our cobalt or our coltan is of a higher grade than the DRC's. A thief is proudly, confidently standing out here after he steals your minerals, has the audacity to then stand up and say, we do have these particular minerals in our country, and check our grade, our quality is even higher than yours. That's what's happening there.
That's a lie.
That Paul Kagame is, you know, when you think of a politician, you know the what do you call this? The understanding, the thing, the narrative that has always existed about a politician.
Yeah.
Just like Donald Trump at times used to say, I'm not a politician. I refuse. I never thought that I would be a politician.
Yeah.
That Paul Kagame is a true politician. You know what a politician is? A politician, a true politician is a liar.
Oh, to the core.
To the core. Liars.
Yeah, they say what
things, they twist, they throw out narratives left, right, and center just to suit them.
Yeah.
All they want to do is just lie.
Yeah. They will say whatever they want to get what they want.
Yes.
No matter how, no matter who.
You've just described Paul Kagame.
Jeez.
Yes.
And
Benjamin Netanyahu.
Oh, don't get me started on that Netanyahu. Oh. You know, and even this Kagame, he just looks like a weasel.
You see the way he takes his time in interviews? Yes. He's thinking up of different lines.
He talks so slow.
He's trying to recap all the different lines that he said in the past couple of interviews, and he's trying to cover them up left, right, and center. He'll sit there, and he's been in power for such a freaking long time, huh? Since 2000, on March 2020, on March 24, 2000, in 2000, he became the president of Rwanda. So basically 24 years. 24
years in power, and he's just lied his way through it to get what he wants.
For 24 years, Paul Kagame has been the president of Rwanda. What the hell do you think this guy is out here to make things better? This is a selfish human being. You know what's being less talked about these days?
What?
Is the fact that these elders, these politicians, these puppets, these leaders, these heads of states, stay in power for way too long, past the ability to even think. And nobody really talks about this. Who said that we should always be governed by some elderly person, regardless of whether they can walk straight or not?
Or think properly.
Look at what even the Zimbabwean president, what was his name? Mugabe. He stayed in power until past his 90s.
Yes.
How the hell do you actually think that this particular person is able to make rational, sound decisions for the good and better of his country? Go to Cameroon, that Paul Biya, ridiculously old, unable to really think for himself. He has to have an entourage that does things for him. People have to advise him left, right, and center. What makes you a leader if the actions that are now being taken by the country are coming from other people?
You're not a leader.
They want to sit there. These human beings want to sit there and have their ego and have their pride being stroked left, right, and center, have the attention that they want to sit there. You know, old people need attention, huh?
Of course.
So they stay, and when they get to that age, as a president, in his freaking brain only, he's thinking, before I die, I must die with all these people around me. You know, it's a lonely place. I don't know where. It's the unknown. I don't know what comes after death. Let me have all these people around me. That's why even the Egyptians used to take gold with them in the graveyards, because the thought of the afterlife is scary to a lot of these people. And these elderly people, that's why you see certain elderly person, they look so lonely. And the only thing they'll tell you is build great relationships with people as you grow older, because you don't want to end up a lonely person.
Yeah.
When was the last time your kids called you? Right? You remember those days? You remember them kids? Do you know that you got kids? You know, they don't call no more.
Jeez.
You know? Even this Biden, so old.
Yeah.
Going to the American government. Even Nancy Pelosi.
Oh my gosh, Nancy, please.
So old.
Yo.
There was even a lady before. I think she was in the Senate. You remember that lady? She was so freaking old, man. I can't
think of her name, but I know. Yeah.
Nowadays, these politicians are so old. They sleep in assemblies. They sleep in these meetings.
Yes, Didn't Joe fall asleep last week in something?
He always falls asleep. That's why he's Sleepy Joe.
Yeah.
Right?
But he actually, his eyes were literally closed and the cameras were on him.
Even Trump, they were saying that in this particular case that he was having, that he apparently fell asleep or whatever. These people are old. But the thing is, these people just want to continue to remain in power. This Paul Kagame has been there already for 24 years. Trust you me, there is no need, there's no sense of urgency in him to want to relinquish power. Do you know who I really like? As we're talking about these old people, these old politicians that love power so much, like the Paul Beers of the world and the Paul Kagames of the world and the Joe Bidens who cannot recognize how old they are, do you know who I admire?
Who?
Is the king of Qatar.
The emir.
Not the ruler, not the emir. He's the son. But his father.
Oh, yeah.
Of Doha, Qatar.
Yes.
You see how he just gave?
Yes, I remember.
He just gave the power
to
the son. For some fool come out here, but he's giving it to his son. Still.
Yes.
He just gave it to the emir.
And he was still young.
He wasn't that young, but he wasn't as old as Biden. He wasn't as old as Paul Beer.
Yes.
You know? He just gave the power, and he's still there. You know,
he's still around.
He's doing his thing. You know, because he had the lady, the queen, and she's still there also. You know, she used to dress. She dresses really nice and all these beautiful, elegant attires. But him, I admire him because
you're right.
Yeah, when you think about it, all these people, they want to stay in power until the day they die. That's where this Paul Kagame is headed. That's what he will do everything that he can to want to remain in power for as long as he can.
He's probably grooming he has a son somewhere that he's grooming and is saying, I'm going to pass it on, because they think it's a monarchy, but it's not.
And these countries, these African countries whose leaders are in power for over 30, 40 years, are in these positions still, or in power as head of states, as presidents, because of the relationships that they still have with the post-colonizers and these huge countries out there. So they don't want some form of change, just random change or democratic election. And then some new person comes in and they have to retrain these people over again. And hey, this is how you deal with your mineral resources. You give us, we have the first right of refusal, just like France is doing.
With that Niger.
With mostly like 12 to 14 different countries. I think now it's 12 countries because Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger are out of there.
Yeah.
They don't want France. They don't deal with France no more. But even before them, like currently, most of those African countries, those Francophone countries that France colonized and supposedly gave their independence in the 1960s, it all came with a list of things that they needed to abide to.
Yes.
You want your independence, you got to sign these colonial rights. You got to sign this colonial pact. You got to sign this. We have the first right of refusal.
Yes.
Meaning whatever you discover in your country, you first have to present it to France.
We'll
we
decide.
have to choose whether we like it or not. And if we say no, you keep it in our country or you bring it to us and you don't sell it to anybody else in this world. Do you want independence? You got to sign over there. You understand? You don't have the right to allow your troops to be trained by anybody else but France. You understand? You want the army? You need an army, right? As an independent country, you need an army, right?
Yeah.
Your army can only be trained by France, right? You need money, right? You need money. Okay, you're gonna use the franc, and guess what? That money will only be printed in France. The franc.
Yeah.
We hold the reserves. If you need money, you let us know, and we'll give it to you as a loan. You understand? If you need your own money back, we will loan it to you. There's interest.
I don't know how would these people
But
sign
you have
this thing.
independence.
How did they sign that agreement?
Do you know what's so crazy to me? And I'm going to speak to every single African. You know what's so crazy to me?
Tell me.
Is the fact that these Africans, on their supposed Independence Day, they come out in the streets in numbers by the thousands and sing their national anthems. And so proud they stand to say this is our Independence Day.
And the president is there with them.
Yes.
And he knows the inner workings of how that agreement.
Independence was forged.
Yes.
Yes. They sing they're so freaking clueless about everything.
Goodness.
While these colonizers have had these particular countries signed agreements. Conditions, terms and conditions apply with your independence. They make them sign that shit. But they come out there and they sing because in 1960, apparently we got independence, right? Independence. There's different people. They celebrate. They be out there.
Yes.
Fake ass independence. Fake ass independence. The colonizers or these people up there, these imperialistic countries, are laughing at them, are laughing at our puppets. There's a reason why we call some of these African presidents puppets, because we know the truth. And the truth is some of these countries got their independence by signing these agreements where they can do shit economically.
Yeah. It's
So they're
very
puppets.
true. Yes.
It's only when these supposed candidates or politicians get in power that they are now exposed to certain materials that we don't have, for example, that's not available to us. And then they look at it and they go, shit, I am now the president of Congo, but I can't do shit. I cannot do nothing. Look at these agreements. Look at all these paperworks. I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do that. And I've given my word to the people, to the Congolese people, that I will be a president for change. I will end the conflict in East Democratic Republic of Congo. Vote for me, Felix Tshisekedi. I will do it. But then when he's in power, he looks at all those agreements that were signed with the Belgians and the Frances of the world, because they use the franc. You think Felix Tshisekedi has the power to come out here and say, from now on, we're not going to be using the franc no more? Hell no. That's because certain agreements are in place. So then they sit down and they say, oh my goodness, I might as well just steal as much money as I can from my family.
Fill my pockets
Up. And then it is what it is.
I'll just fly around.
I'm only one man. This is not what I signed up for, but it's before me. I cannot just resign just like this. And then we stand up there. Felix Tshisekedi, you have to do this. You have to do this. You have to do that. You have to do this. What the hell? What are you waiting for? Why are you over there? His hands are tied.
He's thinking to himself, guys.
That's why the only hope for some of these African countries is for us to maybe get a little revolutionary. You know, like we need to go back to those days where we had like the Martin Luther Kings of the world, the Nelson Mandela, people who are prepared to go through hell and high water.
To fight the good fight.
To fight the good fight, like the Thomas Sankaras of the world, the Chris Sanis. Real individuals, activists, and revolutionary.
Julius Malema.
The only person who comes close to that is the Malema guy. South Africa. You understand? I bet you when Julius Malema becomes president, he's going to shake up the entire African continent.
Like I said previously, Julius Malema is the change that South Africa needs. Africa needs.
At this stage, We just need somebody who goes against the grain. You just need somebody who's willing to stand up against them powers, imperialistic countries.
Yeah.
Even if their objective isn't so refined, even if their vision isn't so well thought out yet, but just the fact that they are willing to stand on this other side.
Yes.
On this other side.
Yes.
That's what we first need.
Yes.
And we know that the longer we are able to stand on our own, the more we will learn how to govern, how to run ourselves as Africans. As long as we first detach ourselves from these agreements that these countries have signed in exchange
Yes.
for supposed independence. Because they're out here only doing things for the benefit of these colonizers and these imperialistic colonial neocolonialism. That's the modern age thing that's happening. The other thing that really pissed me off that came out a few weeks ago, perhaps even a month or two ago, was the audacity of that French general. I think it was a French general or a US general. Some freaking general came out here and said something about, I think it's time for Africa to be recolonized.
Really?
Yes, there was a fool like that who came out, a supposed general.
In this day and age.
People have clapped back on him. A lot of people have been out here already and spoke a lot. In this
Whoa.
freaking day and age.
Whoa.
In this day and age, some general had the audacity to come out here and say Africa needs to be recolonized. You know, they don't know that they're dealing with a different group of Africans now. They have no idea. They still believe, you know, I always say to myself, there's a reason why I wasn't born in those times. You understand? Huh?
Yes, yes.
There's a reason why I wasn't born in those times. Because I don't think, like most people now also, especially how the world has developed also,
Yeah.
I think a lot of the people that lived in those days where slavery was a way of life, were perhaps just destined to live in those times.
Yeah.
I think that majority of the people that now live in this generation wouldn't take the crap of what happened in those times. So when certain generals come out here and say despicable, aggravating shit like that, I bet you there's a lot of people that say to themselves, look, I don't have time to talk. We just need to... Do you understand what I'm saying?
I get you, yes.
But the crazy part about what we're talking about also is, I don't understand why some of these people who dare us, right?
To try.
I don't understand why these powers, how they are willing to just dare people, the masses. Because it's like you keep pushing these people to a point of what? Just like with the DRC Congo. These people have been losing their lives for 30 years. You puppets have failed left, right, and center. Do you not think that you are perhaps provoking a spirit within certain individuals out there to want to take matter into their own hands?
That's a very good point.
For how long? Are you really just sitting in your comfort zones as leaders or leaders of the world, the powers that be, imperialistic countries, or whoever you are, M23, or whoever you are, or whoever who supports M23? Are you really honestly just sitting in your comfort zone saying to yourself, these people will never, ever, ever have the mind to retaliate or to stand with the resistance?
Jeez.
These people will never, ever, ever do that. Just keep poking the bear, keep playing with the snake, keep doing it for decades. What genocide? What genocide? There's a genocide in East Democratic Republic of Congo. CNN, Fox, NBC, ABC. You shall not broadcast that. That should not take center stage. Just let those people be. And they will never retaliate.
Ha.
It's crazy.
It's crazy that they think that these African politicians, they need a wake-up call. I have no words for them.
You know, these African politicians, as much as I call them puppets, they're not actually stupid.
They're smart because they're smart in how they can get money for themselves and just leave their own countries to rot. That's it.
They are actually not as stupid as we think they are. Their hands are tied. The only thing is, they know everything that we're saying here.
Of course.
They know that we are saying, hey, take action. For how long you're going to take, for how long you're just going to sit by and talk. They know all of this.
Yeah.
But the complexity of those agreements that they've signed is the reason why our African puppets don't take any action. The reason why Africa is still a third world country is because our puppets, our forefathers, our founding fathers signed these particular agreements where they've tied our hands economically to these imperialistic countries, these colonizers. There's nothing these puppets can really do. If you really go into it, you will see that these puppets are completely powerless. Their hands are tied. They can't do shit with it without the colonizers still agreeing. They come out here and they sing independence and all this left, right, and center. But at the end of the day, the ends are freaking tied. Huh?
Yes.
I'm telling you, you see, whoever created civilization, whoever built the world, whoever came up with the law and all this stuff and all these different institutions and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you really honestly think there came a stage in time when they said, okay, enough with power, enough with us having the rights and the control, the ability to control humanity. From now on, it's a democratic world.
Oh.
From now on, the majority rules. From now on, people have the power. Do you really honestly think that there was a time when these people had the power and the control over humanity, and then one day they woke up to say, we're going to give all this up. From now on, you people have the power. From now on, you Congo, you have your own power. You're independent. Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, you are independent. You really honestly think these powers that be, these people that are apparently gathered in Germany, and coughed up. You really honestly think that they came in there and they were sick and tired of rolling in the dough, of having all that money. And they gave it up and they say, from now on, you who we used to get all our money from this country, from now on, no more. You are independent. You choose if you want to do business with us or not. Hell no.
No.
You want independence? You want somebody to stand up front over there as a president? Sign here. You can't do funny deals with other people, but sign here.
Yes.
That's what's happening then. That's why Africa is still where Africa is.
Yeah.
Yes, because Africa's hands are tied from these agreements that most of these countries signed with their colonizers and with these imperialistic countries. This is the reason why Africa can do shit almost. The African Union, what? The African Union gets 60% of its money from the European Union.
Yes.
Most of these countries over here still have colonial pacts, agreements with the colonizers. So what? Fake ass independence. Let them sing on their independence day, left, right, and center. As long as we keep laughing all the way to the bank, as long as we continue to have the right to get in there, get our minerals, our cobalt, and build Tesla and Apple as much as we want. For now, just let it be like that. Let those little activists and influencers continue to talk as much as they want to talk. At the end of the day, we have the paperwork.
They still get what they want. They still get what they need.
On one hand, I feel sorry for Felix Tshisekedi. On the other hand, I understand that his hands are tied. He's a puppet for the West. He's a puppet for Belgium, for the colonizers. There's nothing these African presidents can do.
Yeah.
All this display we see as they meet for different events, the UN, BRICS, and all this kind of shit. It's all a show. It's all a show. Behind closed doors, the fact that a saying exists, a saying such as classified information. The fact that classified informations, those are classified information. I don't think I have the. What do you mean? You have something to hide?
Yes.
I don't have the right to speak on this. You have something to hide.
Yeah.
Hey, excuse me, everybody in the back there. Are there some people here who are so freaking stupid that they cannot handle these classified information? Come on. Why are you saying that the mess that the people cannot know? Oh, okay, because it will create an outrage. Some people will go into some form of reaction. So we don't trust you all public. Some of you are stupid out there.
Oof.
Only people who are voted in power and are part of our committee, our government, can be exposed to such sensitive materials and informations.
They are privy to that info.
True relations that we have with other countries. Can you handle it? Do you have the intelligence? Do you have the maturity? Do you have the temperament to understand what we're talking about? Can you keep this to yourself and not share it with others? This is classified information. Hey, as the CIA, This is what we do. This is what we do.
Yes.
Can you know this? Are you able to know this? Can you unseen this?
No. Because they want people to be smart enough to say, okay, this is what's happening, but don't talk about it.
We're talking
At
about
all.
power here. The world is being run by certain people. As much as we all think that we are independent, as individual countries, even if you can extrapolate this shit all the way up, as an individual within a country, as a country within a continent, as a continent on this planet,
Yeah.
we are all a part. There's powers and powers and powers and powers, and those that are in control of the whole freaking ball game are still in control
Yes.
of the whole freaking ball game.
Yes.
This whole freaking illusion of thinking that we have independence
Freedom.
as individuals or as countries is still a young way of thinking, because power is power, and once somebody has tested power, they don't want to let it go.
Not at all.
That's why you see these old ass presidents also in there who are being kept in position systematically.
Yes.
It's not just because the people voted for him. Systematically, they are being kept there.
Yeah.
You know? That's why China can also come out and say, our president is a president for life. We will create a
Yes, they
system
did that.
here that is good for us, that is beneficial for
It's
us.
working for us.
That will work for us, that will put us ahead, that will allow us to put systems in place and have a vision of 2050. You understand? When we completely take that Taiwan, perhaps, because if we start shuffling the cabinets up now, oh man, somebody else will come in here and take us a few more steps back, a few more decades back. We don't need that kind of shit.
No.
The only crazy part is the fact that when somebody like a Paul Biya stays in power for 40 years, Cameroon, please show what consistency has produced in your country.
What growth has happened?
What growth
what
has happened?
change?
Your president has stayed in power for over 40 years. What good has he done? You understand? He's had the privilege of being in power for 40 years with no opposition. He's been able to make decisions left, right, and center for 40 years. What good has come out of that?
Yeah.
We can look at China and say that works for them. Understand? But for you, Rwanda, your president has stayed there for 24 years. What good has that come out? I want to see people from Rwanda contesting and protesting against what the president is doing.
Yeah.
But these particular Africans or Rwandese will just continue to deny it because it suits them. Because they want to be recognized as the country that produces the highest grade of cobalt or coltan.
You are not Rwanda.
Even when it truly belongs to the Democratic Republic of Congo. If
Yes.
we had some Rwandese with total integrity out there, they would come out here and speak the truth. The fact that they are so freaking silent
means that they agree.
just shows you how far a human being is prepared to go when it suits them. They couldn't give a shit about integrity or what's right, as long as it benefits them. That's why if you get some money now, every single person who disagreed with you, being friends or family, will fake it, will want to be there, will give you certain reasons for you to continue to do that which that you do. Yeah, the human heart. I want to see those Rwandese come out.
They
But
won't.
of course they won't,
They
because
will
it's
not.
apparently working in their favor.
I don't see how.
Because they're
Really.
being acknowledged or recognized
But not
as
in
the
a good
country that
way.
produces the best high quality of cobalt.
No, but they're also being recognized for funding a genocide.
Not them, not the citizens. They'll say, I'm not the president. You're looking at Paul Kagame. But we are saying them themselves should also come out here and say, hey, let's hold our own president accountable here. Let's see some marches around there. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kind of like what these kids in Columbia University are doing,
Yeah,
standing
that's
up
true.
against their own government. Those students in Columbia University have a lot of integrity. Huh?
Yes.
Yo, they're standing up against their own governments. Stop what you're doing. It's not right. We don't pay money for this. You're using our tax dollar money for this. We don't want to fund in our opinion, a genocide. So
Yeah.
stop doing this. Diversify. Stop doing this.
Yes,
These
yes.
people stand up there with integrity. They have
Yeah.
morals again. So let's see some Rwandese come out here and denounce what the President Paul Kagame is doing to the East Democratic Republic of Congo. Let's see that. That's why I keep saying I want to see Ghanaian protesting for what's happening in Rwanda.
Yeah.
I want to see Rwandese protests for what's happening in South Africa, in Niger, in Burkina Faso, Mali. I want to include my Egyptian people, my Tunisians, Libya, Morocco. In my opinion, you guys are all Africans. I don't care if you're going to come up with your own definition of, but my ethnicity is this, my ethnicity. You are all African. You're on the African soul. You are on the African soul. You are African, and embrace it and be lucky and be
Definitely.
grateful. Be grateful.
Yes.
And hold it and wear it as a badge of honor to be African.
Amen.
Ooh,
Yes.
you have to, huh? That's a true African right there.
That's true. That's true.
Why would you want to be something that you are not? Why would you want to claim? Why would you want to act? Why would you want to try to give out a vibe that you are not? Remain authentic. Still, the same people will preach on authenticity, on being real, but you don't want to accept your true identity. Why? Whether you are Moroccan, South African, Zimbabwean, Chinese, like from Mauritania, from Philippines, from Cuba, from down there. You're still a human. You're still your own identity.
Yes.
You know? It's DRC Congo.
This
Paul
genocide needs to stop. People are losing their lives. Civilians, kids, babies.
Actually, people are not losing their lives. People are getting their lives taken away.
Yes.
Yeah, they're not
Yes.
losing their lives. They are
That's a-
robbing them of their lives.
That's the right way to say it.
That's what's happening in East Democratic Republic of Congo.
Yes.
Or in Rafah, in Gaza. People are being robbed of their lives. They're not losing their lives. They want their life, man.
Of course.
They're being robbed. They're being
Yes.
they're being exploded.
It's just
Casualties.
it's crazy. And now this, the fact that even this Netanyahu IDF, they actually spread out pamphlets in Gaza to saying leave this area because they are going to enter it.
You mean in Rafah?
In Rafah, yes.
Benjamin Netanyahu or the IDF, Israel as a state, as a government, not as a people, as
The
a government,
government.
are not up for any form of ceasefire. They've already come out here and said since the very, very beginning that they want to eradicate Hamas completely. And they've also said that a ceasefire will only give Hamas time to rebuild itself. Doesn't work in our favor. We have committed to making sure that we remove Hamas off the face of the earth. We need to end it. We don't want them no more. A ceasefire will only give them an opportunity to rebuild themselves. So all this talk of proposing a supposed deal for a ceasefire is just a waste of time. This is why after this supposed ceasefire agreement was agreed upon by Hamas, mediated by Qatar and Egypt, Israel came out and said, we are rejecting this. Because we all know that they are not up for it. Hamas can come out here and give them everything.
Yeah.
And if they are not surrendering and putting their arms down as Hamas to Israel, if they are not surrendering completely, there will be no ceasefire
That is true.
that will ever freaking work there.
That is true. That is true.
It's very easy to think about.
Yeah.
When you just watch them and you hear them and you see their intentions, you'll say to yourself, look, these people will never get a ceasefire. A ceasefire for them is... That means all the work that you've done now goes in waste.
Yeah.
In terms of, I don't want to say work, but in terms of everything, all the money that you've spent in this war.
It just goes whatever.
We committed to doing this in order to eradicate them for life. And now we're just going to pause it here.
Just for what?
What have we accomplished? Because they're still there, and now they're going to be rebuilding themselves.
But then there are lives that they are still hostages alive.
You think Netanyahu cares about that? He doesn't care about that. He has a bigger goal to get that whole strip. They are now putting up their flags. They got to the Rafah. You know, Rafah is
the crossing.
Rafah, the crossing, is where some of these people can be evacuated and leave, and this is where aid can also come through. They've gotten to that crossing. They've removed the flags of Palestine and all that kind of thing, and now putting Israeli flags all over the place.
Jeez.
What does that mean?
That
Does
they've
that mean
taken
that they
over.
want a ceasefire?
No.
They're trying to say this is Israel's land. They're
But then
occupiers.
what happens to those people?
What people? They don't care what.
I don't understand the mentality of this Netanyahu.
You're not supposed to understand it. There's only one thing that you should understand, that these people are out here to take the land. Very simple. You call them an occupier, and now you are surprised that the occupier is out here doing everything in its utmost power to occupy the land, the whole Palestine or Rafah or Gaza. You know they're an occupier. Trying to sit down with an occupier to negotiate some sort of peace deal. No, it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
They have already decided. Do you actually think that this year being the election year of the US, where the Democrats want to get back in power, they are literally out here showing us that we are willing to risk all these votes by still supporting Israel the way that we will. Whether you people say, we will not vote for you. We're doing it. We're sending 95 billion. We're sending money over there. We're sending itinerary. And we're threatening to ban TikTok also. 170 million of yours. Yes. 170 million users. We're going to ban this thing. I've signed it. Do you think Biden is at a stage where he gives a shit about the American vote? The Americans are out here, students are out here protesting left, right, and center. It doesn't move the Democrats or Joe Biden. It's not showing. He's not showing any fear for
any
votes.
remorse.
This begs the question: was Trump right when he said they took the election, they stole the election? Because these people are out here not caring whether they get re-voted or re-elected again.
Because they are so confident that they are going to be in power.
They know exactly how they got in power, and they are willing to do it again.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
I get you.
The reason why I am now starting to entertain the idea that perhaps the 2020 elections was fake and that Trump was right. The reason why I'm not starting to entertain that particular idea is because I see how the Democrats don't give a shit about the American vote. They see the Americans out here protesting about their contribution to the Middle East, to Israel. They see how Americans are out here. They see how this particular government is out here threatening to ban TikTok, 170 million users, and they still don't give a shit whether it affects the elections or not. That's why I'm starting to think, was Trump right? No, because usually when it will eat at our votes, we quickly backstep and we say, hey, hold up. We're so sorry. Ta-da. But these ones are saying, we don't give a shit. Send $26 billion over there, man.
It's crazy, man. So crazy.